Hearty welcome one and all. Very good evening. Very happy to welcome all of you on behalf of the team. Once again, a very warm evening all present here. We will start sharp by 6 o'clock. Happy evening, one and all. It would be great if all of us start to introduce ourselves. We will be starting the webinar in a few minutes. Our speaker, Danish, is already here. So I will be unmuting you all if you should give me a hand raise, or if you give me a yes in the chat box, I will unmute you all. You can go ahead and introduce yourself to the group. Okay. Okay, I will unmute everyone. Yes.
Can you hear
Who would
me
like to go and introduce yourself first? Yes, Mr. Prahalad.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes. Very good evening.
I am. Yeah, good evening. I'm Prahalad Maharana. Basically, I hail from Indian Air Force. I was a batchmate of Mr. Jagannathan Krishnan, and I'm here in Jamshedpur. I'm working with an MNC as the head HR and administration. Basically, I'm an MBA in HR and operation.
Okay,
And
that's
for
amazing.
last 11 years, I've been working in this company. And it is great to be with you all. And a big thanks to Krishnan. Where is he? He is not visible.
He's here. He's here.
Yeah, special thanks to him. Please convey.
Yes. Thank you. And you were the first one to join, and thank you for that.
Okay, my pleasure. My pleasure.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes. I would, a humble request for the audience, if you can go to the chat box and give your name, your organization name, and your role, and your phone number. We would get in touch with you very soon. Can you please go to the chat box, give a small description about yourself and your organization and your contact number or an email ID. We would get in touch with you as soon as possible. We will be starting in a few minutes. Okay, Mr. Sriram feels there's a problem with the streaming. Everybody feels the same?
Can you hear me now? I think I'm done.
Okay, fine, fine. அப்படியே வச்சுக்கலாம்.
Welcome, Julie. Chat box. Hi, Sangeet, you're here. Welcome. Yeah. I think it's time to start. Very, very happy evening to one and all present here on a Friday evening, weekend tomorrow, very busy, hectic work from home schedule. Amongst that, we have all gathered here uh, to discuss something which is the need of the hour today, where all of us are working from home, all of us are adapting to the new normal, and the communication itself has remodeled itself. I think all of you would agree with me. So here we have Danish Damani, the co-founder of Orai, and he's an international TEDx speaker. Danish, a big hi to you. And on behalf of all the audiences. And here we have Kaushik. Kaushik and I are part of the host team. And Kaushik, hi to the audience.
Hi,
Yes.
hi, hi. Good
Yes,
evening.
and along with all the other team members, we welcome you all for today's session. And over to you, Danish.
Thank you so much. I'll share my screen and we'll dive right in. So I'm Danish Damani, CEO and co-founder of Orai. I'm based out of Philadelphia, USA. So let's begin. My story began when I was just giving a presentation at work. Just gave an engineering presentation on PowerPoint and thought I did great. I thought I did a great job. But then my manager pulled me aside and she's like, Danish, you think you can be the smartest engineer in the room, but if you don't learn how to present confidently and clearly, you're putting a glass ceiling on your head, something that you'll never be able to climb any higher. You'll never become a manager. You'll never become a leader. And I said, what should I do? And she recommended I join this public speaking club called Toastmasters. Has anyone else over here heard of the club Toastmasters? So Toastmasters is an amazing public speaking club. I went there religiously, week after week, month after month, and finally realized that this is actually a learnable skill. Anyone can learn how to sound more confident and be more compelling. And back at work, I felt like I was breaking through my glass ceiling. I was getting more buy-in for my ideas, more airtime with senior decision makers. And that's when I realized that you're not born a great communicator. Anyone can learn this skill. And that is what we're going to talk about today. How can all of us here be 21st century great communicators? And if you want to learn more about my journey, you can go on Google or on YouTube and watch my TED Talk, where I share more about this journey on how, when I moved from Pakistan to Tanzania to US, how I had this fear and how I overcame that fear. Over my course of my journey, I also made an app. It's called Orai. Some of you might have heard of it. Orai is an AI speech coach. Yes, it uses artificial intelligence to give feedback on people's speech. There's no human involved. And exciting news for all of you today, we're going to demo it and try a sneak peek of how Orai works in the presentation. Orai is an international app. It's used by over 250,000 people across the globe. And to date, we have given feedback on over 2 million recordings, presentations, pitches right on the app. So let's get to the meat of the topic, communication skills. This idea of communication is very subjective. Depending on who you ask, everyone has a different idea of what communication actually means. If you ask an actor what communication is, they'll tell you something else. If you ask a PR person, a public relations person, what communication is, they'll think of something else. So I really want to tailor this content to you specifically. Leaders inside an organization, managers who are used to with communication skills. So if you can go into the chat box and let me know in your role, who needs good communication and why? Just take 30 seconds. Let me know in the chat box the answer to this question according to you. Great, thank you, Prahlad. A leader needs good communication skills. Why? Don't forget to answer the why. The why is very important. Julie says everyone needs good communications. That's also very true. Why? I want to really get the answer to why do we need this. Okay, thank you, Joshua. So that we can tell other person what we mean to achieve their goals. What else? I see we have 30 people in the room. We want to make this interactive. In fact, that is one of my big tips. If you're running an effective virtual meeting, you need to make your meetings interactive. And you will be seeing some of the things and techniques I use. One of them is interaction and asking audience for participation. Okay, everyone needs good communication skills to communicate effectively, to convey our thoughts, to make yourself understandable. I think we are all in the right ballpark. We're all getting it. We'll give 5 more seconds. Great. Yeah. I think the other thing inside a work environment, if you have great communication skills, you actually increase the trajectory of your career growth. Let me take an example. You have manager 1 and you have manager 2. Manager 1 and manager 2, they both have the same college degree. They both have great grades. They both have been working in the same company for 2-3 years. And now, as a leader, you're looking at who to promote. Manager 1 is not good at communicating. Manager 2 is great at communicating, is great at conveying their ideas. Who do you think is going to get the promotion? Who do you think is going to get the salary increase? Of course, manager 2. Because today's world, soft skills are so important. It's so important to be able to communicate, to build a relationship. It's the core of the way our world works. And today, over the next 25 minutes, we're going to learn some of the best tips and techniques on how all of us here can be great communicators. And to me, great communication actually boils down to these three things. If you're taking notes, this is one of the most important parts of the presentation. Remember the 3 C's. The first C is confident. The second C is compelling. The third C is conciseness. You might be asking, how did Danish come up with these 3 C's? I spoke to hundreds of leaders. I asked hundreds of managers and leaders and CEOs, and I asked them, what makes someone a good communicator? When you're looking at your team, how do you know this person is a leader and this person is not a leader? How do you know if someone has executive presence? I'm sure all of us here as leaders have heard the word executive presence. What does that mean? Executive presence is these 3 C's. Executive presence means you are confident. Confident meaning not just from your voice, but also from your body language. The way I'm talking to you right now, the way my eyes, my smile is, they also portray confidence. The second one is compelling. Compelling means, are you a good influencer? If you have an idea, can you compel the 10 other people in the boardroom that your idea is the best? This is what compelling means. We're going to teach how to do that as well. And the last one, also very important, is conciseness. As we become leaders, as we climb the corporate ladder, it becomes more and more important that we are to the point. We are succinct. We are making our message sharp and to the point. Why? Because leaders don't have time. When you go into a 30-minute meeting, a leader is going from one meeting to the other and they're like, okay, I have to cut short. I only have 15 minutes. Can you be concise and to the point? That is a skill that we all need to learn, how to be concise and to the point. So remember these 3 C's. If you're taking notes, we will share tips on how to do each one of these things. Wonderful. I am going to make a point that we all are aware the coronavirus situation is impacting the entire globe, the entire world. I personally hope that all of you guys and your families and your teams are safe and are staying at home. But the reason I bring this up is because it has impacted the way we communicate. This global pandemic has resulted in people no longer working from office, no longer interacting face to face. If I'm meeting you face to face, there's so much you can see from my body language. In fact, when you're communicating, 57% of communication is from your body language. And now all of a sudden, you're not face to face. So now you have to make do with the remaining 43% to communicate your messages, to communicate your ideas. It becomes a challenge. People are no longer communicating and interacting face to face. Instead, what are they doing? Over video calls. Maybe some of you right now, especially those who might not have their video on, might be sitting in the kitchen. Maybe they have their children or their partners in the kitchen with them, in the living room. And this is the global situation today. 88% of organizations have encouraged their employees and required them to work from home. And what does this work from home mean? It means that we have to change. I'm going to show you a video of a person who actually does a lot of virtual meetings, and I'm going to quiz you at the end. I want to ask you to take notes and remember, what is one thing this person did really well, and what is one thing this person did not do well? Ready? I'm going to show you that video now. Okay, there's no audio, apologies for that. But this person is on BBC. He's being interviewed virtually. The person is asking him questions, and behold, there you go. Maybe that's the babysitter, maybe that's the nanny, or maybe that's the wife. And he's just, oh my God. I think he's almost going to cry. And he's apologizing. And there you go, the door closes. So I know this video was funny, but I hope you were taking notes. If you can go into the chat box and tell me what was the one thing this person did well, and what was the one thing this person did not do well. So go into the chat box and share with us those answers. Lock the door. Great. Joshua, thank you for that. He kept going. In today's world, if something happens, you just keep going. He did not react abruptly. He should have ensured there was privacy from the start. He continued the interview without becoming panicked. That's right. He had a calm composure. This idea of being calm composure is actually one of the traits of a great leader. So we all need to remember that. He should have picked the right environment, should have taken an alternate room. Great. I'm going to show you his face again. What else? From his body language, what else do you notice that he did great? I'll give a hint. Look at his dress. He dressed up, right? Even though he's at home, even though he's in his office at home, he knows that he is talking to BBC. So he has to dress appropriately as though he was speaking. Right now, I'm wearing a shirt because you are a professional audience. I could have worn a t-shirt or been in my pajamas, but that's not right. We have to dress to impress. I see some people in the audience even have a tie. That's great, because imagine we were meeting in real life. That's how we should be acting. So dressing up well is also very important. Notice his lighting. Do you see like there's some light on his face? Lighting is also very important. Right now, the window is on my face, so the lighting is great. Many times what we do is our webcam is actually like this. So if you see, the light is behind me and it really disrupts the way you look at me. So another great tip, if you're writing down, is to have your webcam in front of you, where the light is in front of you and your webcam is, here's another tip, it should be at eye level. I've seen so many meetings where people join, either the webcam is here, and they're talking like this. This is hard. In a virtual meeting, imagine if I talk to you the entire 15 minutes like this, how would you like it? It'll be hard for you to understand me. I will not be able to communicate with you properly. Or sometimes the web camera is here and they're talking like this and they're looking down and up. Hello, everybody. Today we are going to talk about this topic. No. Best practice to be confident, eye level. My camera should be at eye level. And another tip for virtual meeting etiquette is don't be too far. This is too far from the camera. The person can't see your facial expressions properly. And this is too close. Sometimes people have their phones like this, or they might join on their phone and they'll have their cameras like this. No. The best tip is to make sure that your shoulders are halfway on the video. If your shoulders can be halfway, you know that it's appropriate. The reason, psychological reason behind this is because when you are with another person in a real face-to-face environment, they're about this much distance where you see their chest and you see their head. You don't just see this much. When you're real in physical person with someone, you see this much. So this is the best practice for video. Great. I hope you're taking some notes, because this is what meeting etiquettes are. Today, the world has changed. We all need to adapt with the changed world. We all need to know what is an etiquette for running meetings virtually. So all we talked about was the body language and the environment. Now, if you notice that he's also in an office room, right? So it looks a little bit professional. Sometimes we might not be in an office room. Like right now, I'm actually in my bedroom because I don't have an office in my room. So if I show you my bedroom, this is how it looks. I have my bed here, but sometimes this can be not so professional. At least I've made my bed today. It looks okay. But imagine the bed was not made. My laundry was here. So just to be on the safe side, a real nice tool I like to use is virtual backgrounds. Virtual backgrounds, you can have it access on Zoom. And if the meeting is not running on Zoom, I'm going to share with you another tool that is also great. So right now I have my virtual background on. It just gives a sense of professionality in a meeting environment. Thank you, Joshua. Joshua said my room looks okay. Great, thank you. So the tool I'm going to share with you is called Snap Camera. If you are not in a meeting room where Zoom is there, there's this tool called Snap Camera. Yes, it is by Snapchat. And what it allows you to do is to take your webcam and it spices it up using augmented reality. It allows you to even have fun with some filters, with some magical caps and all of that. But the main essence, since this is a professional setting, it allows you to have a professional setting and a professional background in case you're not running meetings on Zoom. So I just wanted to share that tool with you all as well. Great. So we answered this question, some of the best practices when we're working from home. Just to summarize, 1, use the right room. If you are in an important meeting, lock the door or make sure you tell your family members, don't disturb me. Number 2, have good lighting. Lighting should always be in front of you. Number 3, webcam should be at eye level. Very important. Number 4, be calm and composed. The world is not going on fire if someone enters your room. If your webcam falls down, no problem. If someone sees the dirty room, no problem. Remain calm and composed. Continue your meeting. If your cat comes into the room or your baby starts crying, it's okay. The world is acknowledging that the world has changed and it's okay to have people in the room in your virtual work environment. That's okay. So these are some tips and more tips will come as well. Now, let's get to the exciting part. The thing with communication skills is theory is okay. With theory, you can only get so much where, right? You can watch 10 hours of YouTube videos on how to speak like Obama or like your favorite public speaker, but you won't improve like that. You have to practice, you have to speak. So what I'm going to give for everyone here is the ability to do an elevator pitch right now. So if you go to the chat box, I'm going to share a link. 1 second. I'm going to share a link where we are all going to do a recording on our computers. Okay, so if you look at the chat box, I just put a link. If you all can click on that link, and let me show you what it will take you to. When you click that link, it'll take you to something that looks like this. Get feedback on any speech. And the topic for all of us is here is tell me about yourself. Imagine you're at a networking event like this, and you're asked, what do you do? Who are you? What is your role? And what do you do in your company? So 15 to 30 seconds, go into the tool and record your pitch. And I'll do it with you guys as well. I'm going to put myself on mute. So everyone put yourself on mute and do this recording. And then in the chat box, we'll share our scores. Okay. If someone of you is not able to use the link, oh, okay. In which case I'm going to share another link. I'm sorry about that. I'm sharing another link that allows you to do that same exercise about telling me about yourself. Here, I shared. This link opens from. So yeah, open this link in a new browser, webcamera.io. This is the link I'm talking about, webcamera.io. I'm showing the exact link from the web browser. This is the exact link that I see. And worst case, if even this doesn't open up, if you can just take your phone, open the recording app, recording tool on it, and just record your pitch. The reason we are doing this is because we want to practice. We want to be able to see where we stand today. We want to know by watching back our recording on how we are doing, because we are going to go into some more tips, and I'm going to make you guys watch your baseline recording. Think of this as your baseline. This is where you stand today. And as we cover some of the tips and techniques in this presentation, you will go back to your video and be like, oh my God, I did not know I did that. So that's what we're going to do. So just type in webcamera.io and record your elevator pitch. I'll give anyone who is still doing 20 more seconds, and then we'll go right back into the presentation. Great. So going back into the presentation, why did I ask you to do this? Because if you want to improve on your communication skills, one of the best ways in this whole wide world is recording yourself and listening back to it and watching your video. So if you can take a minute and watch back your video of your elevator pitch, and then go into the chat box and tell me what is one way that you can actually improve your communication skills. How can you sound more confident or compelling or concise? So watch your video and go back in the chat box and let me know. I'm also going to watch mine and let you know what I think I should have done. Hi, my name is Danish Damani, and I am the CEO and co-founder of Orai. Orai is a mobile app that helps you sound more confident in any environment and makes you a better communicator. I hope you enjoy using it. Thank you, Joshua. You mentioned pacing. Pacing is also very, very important. Another person mentioned that they need to improve eye contact. Very important. A lot of times people tend to look up when they're thinking. My team members, I always give feedback on that. Looking up when you're thinking, as though the answers are in the cloud. No, the answers are not in the cloud. The answers are in your head. So if you were with someone face to face, would you be looking up or would you be looking straight into their eye? You have to remember it's the same thing in a virtual environment. In fact, I'll give you a tip. If you have a sticky note, one thing you can do on a sticky note is make a smiley face. I'm actually going to do that right now. I don't have a sticky note, but I have a piece of paper. And on the piece of paper, I'm going to make a very, very big I'm going to make a smiley face. It's hard to see. Right. The virtual background is destroying it. But imagine you have a Post-it note, make a smiley face and put it next to your webcam. So right now my webcam is here. I'm going to put the smiley face next to my webcam. And what that does is it reminds me that there's actually someone I need to look at. Instead of looking at in the air, if you have a smiley face near your webcam, what it'll do is remind you to look at at the smiley face. The other beautiful thing about smiley face, it helps you smile. If you notice in my video, I did not smile enough.
Aura. Aura is a mobile app.
Who wants to listen to this person who's not smiling? It becomes boring, especially in a 30, 40, 50-minute meeting. If your audience members are not smiling, it can become a really boring meeting. No one wants to attend a boring meeting. You'll fall asleep. So a big tip is smile. I like to smile about 20%. Not too big and not too small. Just 20%. 20% smile. How do you come up with a 20% smile? You close your eyes and you think of someone you love. You think of that favorite holiday destination you want to go to right after coronavirus finishes. As soon as you do that, you'll have a 20% smile on your face and carry that out throughout the meeting. And because you have your Post-it note, it'll help you remember again and again, I need to smile. The other beautiful thing about a smile is it helps build trust. If your audience trusts you, they will listen to you. You will sound more compelling to them. So if you're writing compelling, one big tip around under compelling is smiling. Smiling is a great way of influencing people. So Lakshmi said, it seemed like she was reading out something. That is a big thing. Sometimes we literally feel like we're reading something. In order to avoid the feeling that we are reading something, smile. So if you watch my video again.
And co-founder of Aura. Aura is a mobile app.
It looks like I'm reading something. But notice at the end, when I smile, it doesn't feel like I'm reading anything.
Communicator. I hope you enjoy using it.
As soon as you smile, you don't look like you're reading. So make sure you smile. Some other tips I'm going to read from the box is pausing. Pausing is something very important. Scripting. Yeah, I always have a pen and paper on my desk. You need to be taking notes. If you can take notes, if you can write down bullet points, very important. And then, yeah, someone mentioned paste. Someone mentioned filler words. What are fillers? Let's start with that. Let's talk about filler words right now. If you can go back to the chat box, if you can tell me what are some of the filler words? I want to count up around 7. I want to know about 7 filler words. So is one. Okay is a filler word, yes. You know, I mean, so, well, like, basically, actually, oh my God. You guys are wonderful. You guys are a wonderful crowd. Yeah is a filler word. As you can see, there's so many filler words. Filler words are not just and And the other beauty about filler words, it changes. Filler word is like the weather. This quarter, your filler word might be yeah, and then next quarter, your filler word might become something like that. It happens to me. Last quarter, my filler word was something like that, and this quarter, my filler word is okay. And how did I know? My team members tell me. I have told my team members who I interact with on a daily basis, tell me if I'm using a filler word. And this is how you improve. Because our minds and our ears do not pick up our filler words. We're too busy thinking of what we're going to say. We forget about our filler words. So it's really important to record yourself and practice. I wish the link worked, because when I practice inside a tool like Orai actually gives me feedback if I use an or a or a basically. It tells me exactly I used one filler word, so I might sound less credible. Credible is confident also, and authentic. And it even gives me a tip. When you think you need to use a filler word, pause. So the best tip around avoiding filler words is to pause. Notice I just did a 2-second pause. Pausing is okay. A lot of times people worry that, will people think that I don't know what I'm saying? No, pausing is okay. And if you think you're pausing too long, you can go longer. Pausing is never enough. Someone mentioned that don't pause too often. That's also true, because sometimes pauses can also be awkward, as though you are thinking and not sure what you're saying. So don't pause like that. Use pauses effectively. Great. I'm really impressed. I have some expert communicators in the room, in the audience. Thank you for that. So pausing, we just talk about filler words, how to avoid them. Let's go to the next one. Someone in the group also mentioned pace. What is pace? Pacing is how fast or slow I'm speaking. Let me see what Orai says about pacing. Okay, do you see that graph? Orai told me I'm too slow, 127 words per minute. In an ideal case scenario, according to research, if you speak between 140 to around 170 words per minute, that's ideal. And a tool like Orai would track that. But the importance in pace is also vary it. Think of it as a roller coaster. You don't want to be talking too fast at the same time. You don't want to be too slow. But you want to have some points where you're actually very excited and you speak fast. And that gets everyone excited. But there might be times where you want to slow down. And so you need to have a roller coaster in your pace. If you do a roller coaster, you are going to sound more engaging and more compelling. So that's pace. So someone, Rajesh, asked a question. Let's look at that. How to engage with audience and make them interact. Rajesh, there's so many things you can do. If you just look at the things that I'm doing right now, those are some of the techniques. Like, make it very clear. When I'm asking a question and I'm asking you guys to interact, I have put it up on the screen exactly, very concisely what you need to say. So you don't have to think of so much when you're interacting. You also want to build trust in the audience. So at the very beginning, I shared a story. I was vulnerable. I was open. I told you that I sucked at public speaking. I had a big fear. And if you show vulnerability to your audience, if you start with a story, you start building trust from the beginning. And that's very important. And that helps everyone interact with your people. And as everything else is a tip, everything that we're talking about helps you become more engaging. If you avoid filler words, if your pacing is like a roller coaster, you will sound more engaging to your audience. Let's move on. Volume. One of my favorites. I cannot count how many times in an in-person meeting or in a virtual meeting, I have to tell people, please repeat that again. Sorry, I didn't hear you. Why? Just speak louder. Be loud. God gave us this voice box that can actually shout. I'm not asking you to shout, but I'm just not asking you to whisper. If you whisper, this is what happens when someone whispers. When someone whispers, first thing, what the audience has to do is really stress. So they have to pay double attention. They have to do double the energy to just understand your message. And if I am someone who is hungry in a meeting, I've just listened to 10 other people, and now you asking me to spend more energy to listen to you, I'm not going to do that. So increase the volume. Make sure that the other person in your audience does not have to expend more energy just to listen to you, because you want to be more compelling. If you want to be more compelling, you need to increase your volume. Don't shout, just be loud enough. And again, tool like Orai would actually tell me my volume as well. And my pitch is also very important. And that's the next thing we're going to talk about, which is your tone. When we look at the word tone, the thing that comes to everyone's mind is monotone. Monotone is when you're flat. You're speaking like this at the same pitch. You're not varying it, and people are now trying to figure out what are you saying. They might have them fall asleep because all you're doing is just maintaining the same tone. Instead, what you can be doing is varying it up and down, again, like a roller coaster. Just like pace, you can actually vary your tone up and down like a roller coaster. That helps you sound more engaging and more compelling, and also more confident. Because when someone is actually varying their tone, they know they're believers in their message and they sound confident. So here were some tips. Just to summarize, we talked about filler words, we talked about pace, we talked about volume, we talked about tone, but we also talked about smiling, right? We talked about having like a sticky note paper so that you're looking at the camera, you're smiling. So now we're going to do one more recording. We're going to do the elevator pitch again. Make sure these notes that you took, you actually embody them. So go back to webcam, this website, webcamera.io, and we're going to do a retake. I want everyone to have no filler words, great pace, good energy, good volume, good tone, and a smile, and looking straight into the camera. Let's try that. I'm going to give everyone 60 seconds. The topic is again, elevator pitch. Who are you? What's your name? What do you do? What's your role? And what do you do at the company? So your 60 seconds are over. Make sure you watch the video again and take notes. Did you vary your energy? Did you have any ums or uhs? Did you talk too fast or too slow? Did you smile and did you look at the camera? This is a great exercise. I would highly recommend for you guys to keep this web camera thing every week, because we forget these things. And the best way to remember is either using web camera, or if you have a subscription to a tool like Orai, you can use it as well. And what Orai also does is gives you feedback on your facial expressions. Why don't I show you how that looks right now? So I'm going to do the same recording inside Ori. So first it tracks my face. It knows I'm here. Hi, my professional background is mechanical engineering. I studied mechanical engineering in college because I always wanted to work for Elon Musk, either at SpaceX or Tesla, because I want to build the future generation of autonomous vehicles and take humanity to the next frontier, which is space. Just imagine I did that recording. You could have said anything you wanted, and now Ori is computing your results. Great. So overall, I got a 63% score. Let me look at my expression. As you can see, Ori noticed that sometimes I was smiling and other times I was neutral. I'm going to play this audio back and you'll notice the difference in my facial expressions. Take note. Hi, my professional background is mechanical engineering. I studied mechanical engineering in college because I always wanted to work for Elon Musk. Now look, I'm not smiling. Either at SpaceX and Ori knows or Tesla, that. Because I want to build the future generation of autonomous vehicles and take humanity to the next frontier, which is space. So smiling is so important because smiling helps you sound more compelling. As you can see, when I was here, it felt like I was reading a script. That is so true. But when I was here, it felt like I was authentic, I was confident, and I was compelling. So that's something great we want to work on. Let's look at the next area of feedback Ori gives. Ori also scores me on conciseness. Am I straight to the point? Conciseness means I don't repeat words. People tend to repeat words a lot. Unnecessary words and phrases, passive voice, and my sentences were not too long. Great. Confidence, I got 68 because I had filler words. Let me see what filler words I had. I had an So I can see exactly my transcript. I had a filler word. I was a little bit too slow and I could have varied my pace. And I can even play this back. So if I look at my transcript. Hi, my professional background. I'll stop sharing. I hope you liked that. That was like a quick side demo for the Ori tool as well. And Joshua, I'm really happy that you had 0 fillers this time in the tool. That's great. Someone also mentioned a question, which is, Mr. Kuladeep Kumar said, how do I conduct group discussion? I'm actually going to go into that next as well, on how you can be more effective in group discussions and meetings, what other tools you can be using. I hope everyone is still excited and with us. I know it's been more than 30 minutes, but I'm super excited about this topic. I hope everyone is enjoying and getting good tips and techniques out of this. Let's continue. Someone just mentioned hand gestures. I do that a lot. I'm glad you picked it up. It is actually very important because when I'm communicating, if you're just seeing the face and I'm talking, it's okay. But remember the stat I mentioned at the beginning, 57% of our communication is done by body language. So if you can bring your hands and your energy, it just makes it more exciting to listen to you. So going back, final few things that I want to cover in this deck. Here's a nice setup that actually portrays where your eye level, the camera is at your eye level. You have a nice sticky note with a smiley face, and maybe you have dual monitors so you can do multitasking as well. And look, the person is wearing a suit. So this brings us towards the end almost. Again, the idea was, how can you all improve on the 3 C's? So if you were taking notes, under each of these things, you might have written down a few things like confident. How do you sound more confident? You avoid using filler words, no ums and ahs. You pause effectively. You don't talk too fast. You don't talk too slow. You are calm and composed. You are smiling. How do you sound more compelling? Your messaging has point to it. Like even sometimes if you bring up a story, you become more compelling. How do you be more concise? When Orai told us to be not using too long words, not to use repetitive words, all of these things come together. Now, I did show you guys some tools. I showed you one tool called Snap Camera. I like that tool. I'm going to close this. Of course, Zoom is another tool that's great for virtual meetings. I love that tool. The other tool that I really like is Google Doc. Plain and simple, everyone has access to it. And it is so important that when you're running virtual meetings, having a virtual space where everyone knows what is being discussed. And there's a very clean agenda. Agenda is so important for meetings. If you don't have an agenda, meetings sometimes run overtime. Sometimes they go into topics that we don't know what you're discussing. So always have an agenda. I like to have my meeting notes divided into 3 things: agenda, notes, and action items. Every meeting has an action item. Otherwise, why are you meeting? So make sure you capture those action items and send out an email on who is supposed to do what. So I'll close this as well. The last tool that I want to mention to you is called Whimsical. The reason I like Whimsical is because it is my virtual whiteboard. When I'm in an in-person meeting, I love having a whiteboard. I love to just go into the whiteboard and start drawing things, start typing things that everyone can look at and discuss simultaneously. So this is super helpful when you're doing a group discussion. What Whimsical allows you to do is do sticky notes. So I can just put a sticky note card under this thing, topic 1, topic 2. It really helps visually, and people can simultaneously come into this tool and interact together. I love the flow charts. Sometimes you're talking about a business process, operationalizing stuff. You want to set timelines, allows you to do that together. People can simultaneously be moving things here and there. So that's another thing that Whimsical allows you to do. That's why I love Whimsical. So someone who asked in the chat box, how do you do group discussions? In order to do group discussions, you need that two-way interaction. As a moderator, as a facilitator, you want to facilitate people to speak and be okay discussing stuff. So you have to give them cues. Okay, Ravi, what do you want to say? Okay, Kaushik, what did you think of Ravi's answer? Hema, what did you think of this topic that we're discussing right now? As a facilitator, that is your job. You need to cue the people. And another thing to reduce like a bias or reduce that barrier people have when talking is having video on. I highly recommend to get video on. And here's a tip, how to get people to turn on video. Do not say, Kaushik, turn on your video. Or Kaushik, please, can you turn your video on? That is okay. Here's another tip that I use, and it works 90% of the time. When you say, hey, Mohammed, I like to put a voice, a picture to the voice. I like to put a face to the voice. It would be really nice if I could see your face as well or your video as well. When you say things like that, it just doesn't sound like you are commanding someone to do it. It just makes them feel like, oh yeah, I think that's a good reason. I can see that person's face and that person deserves to see my face as well. No matter if I'm in my bedroom, no matter if my bed is messy, it's okay. So that's another great tip. And keep the questions coming because we just finished the presentation. Thank you so much. I hope this was great. We'll take about 5 to 7 minutes of questions and answers. Anything you want. And if you have any feedback, please let me know. I hope this was wonderful. Rajesh, how do you handle Q&A as they come? In the world before virtual meetings, Q&A would be like, people would raise their hand and be like, oh, pick me. And they would just say, now they're not saying anything. I have to go on my PowerPoint, but at the same time, I have to look at my chat on Zoom. That's why sometimes my eyes goes down and I'm looking at question. The thing I like to do is interact with the audience. as though they're with me, next to me. So I like to handle the question as they come. Now, that's not always right, because sometimes what happens is meetings require a set formal presentation. You just have to give that 7-minute long presentation, and then you can open up to Q&A. So it really depends. My best practice is back and forth. I love that.
Okay, thank you, Danish. Requesting the audience to fill in your details so that our team will get in touch with you for a complimentary demo license of ORAI. Yes, so if you've already put in your details, it is fine. Otherwise, requesting you to give us your details, contact details, your organization name, so that we can get in touch with you. Anybody else would like to give a feedback about the session, or you have something to say to Danish? Please raise your hands or give us a yes in the chat box so that we can unmute you.
One request I have is I want to take a photo. I want to take a photo of this group. So if everyone can just turn on video and just show like a thumbs up. I just want to take a photo. Maybe we can publish somewhere.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If everybody can switch on your videos, it will be really nice. We can have a photo together.
Yeah. I would have said I like to put a voice to the face, but I know many of us are not talking. So I just want to put a face to the names.
Very good way of putting it.
Yeah. Cool. I love everyone's home office. So just a thumbs up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Smile. Perfect. Thank you. And we'll stay for 3 more minutes if anyone has any question, answer, or even feedback. Maybe there was something that you did not like. Maybe there was something that you really liked, and that's something that you're going to share with your friends, with your peers. I want to know about that. Yes, let's see if I can send the photos somehow in chat. So Zoom didn't allow me to share the photos. I uploaded it to Dropbox, and I just put the link in the chat box. Let me know if you can't open that.
I think we will share the photos, Danish. No issues.
Okay, thank
We'll
you.
make sure everybody gets the photo.
Okay.
Thank you for the wonderful feedback.
Have a very good evening, everybody.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Danish.
Have a great
Thank you
evening.
so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Danish. You were great.